Pursuant to the New Jersey Open Public Meetings Act, adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertising such notice in the Home News Tribune, the Asbury Park Press, the Board Office, the schools, and on Cablevision Channel 118 and Verizon Fios Channel 24, and by filing such notice with the Township Clerk. This meeting was scheduled for Tuesday, January 17th, 2023. The Board will take formal action on payment of bills and other agenda items. Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Giordano. The Old Bridge Township Board of Education acknowledges that the law of this state establishes that members of the public, including members of the board, have the right to record public board meetings using audio or video recording devices, provided that that act of recording does not interfere with the business of this public board meeting. Therefore, the board makes it known that any such recording is to be considered the private recording of the individual and in no manner represents the official record of this board. The board therefore takes no responsibility for such private recording and completely disavows any future use.
Roll call.
Ms. D'Antono,
Present.
Ms. Jodry,
Present.
Ms. Lent,
Here.
Mr. Marqueta, Mr. Slade,
Here.
Mr. Singh,
Here.
Mr. Silikowski, Mr. Weber,
Here.
Mr. Giordano.
Here. And,
Quorum exists.
Oh, sorry, I was going to say Mr. Marqueta couldn't be here. He has a scheduling conflict. Okay, everyone stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Who wants to read the Code of Ethics corner this month? All right, I'll read it. The board member will confine his/her board action to policymaking, planning, and appraisal, and help to frame policies and plans only after the board has consulted those who would be affected by them. All right, we're going to move to approval of the minutes. Item number 1, can I get a motion?
And we'll move it.
Can I get a second?
Slater second.
Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Ms. D'Antono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano.
Yes.
Resolution 1 passes.
Okay, report of student representative to the board.
Hello, everyone. I'd love to welcome the new board. I hope everyone is doing well with the start of the new year. Let me start with the new event being held at OBHS called Instant Decision Day. Multiple colleges are coming to the high school to sit down with our students and review their application and make an instant decision of acceptance to the student. Colleges such as Felician University, NJIT, Stockton University, Georgian Court, and many more. Students must register by January 18th for the event. The Chinese Club and OBH's chapter of the National Chinese Honor Society are hosting Oak Ridge's second ever Lunar Gala. This event will feature a delicious Chinese dinner followed by student performances. It will be in the main building cafeteria and auditorium on February 3rd from 5:30 to 8 p.m. and it promises to be amazing. Tickets are $15 and formal attire is recommended. The high school will be hosting a talent show on February 22nd at 6:30 p.m. where students will be able to show off their unique skills on the stage. Auditions will be held on January 26th after school. Student Senate will also have its bi-monthly bingo night in the main cafeteria on February 2nd. We are proud of our own very Kavya Venkatsen, who was selected as an NJ winner in the Voice of Democracy essay competition. She will represent Old Bridge at the national level on March 4th. Next, with sports over the past weekend, girls and boys wrestling have been showing their dominance in the GMC and states. The girls wrestling team got a huge win with 3 GMC champs coming out for Old Bridge out of 5 finalists for the first time in program history. Overall, the girls finished 3rd overall as a team. Also, the boys program had been showing their hard work and excellency with their record of 8-2 and being 6-0 in the GMC. They recently got ranked 20th in the state. Good luck for the rest of the season for both boys and girls. Keep making Old Bridge proud. That's all with what has been happening at Old Bridge High School. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And we're going to move on to recognition. Can I get a motion?
D'Antuno will move.
Lentoul second.
Mr. Sardino?
Thank you. It is always a great honor for me to recognize members of the Scouts, both Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, for their work towards their Gold Award or the Eagle Scout. So much work goes into these, this recognition and this level of honor within both scouting programs. I do know that there takes great time to prepare a design, prepare a project, and then get the support of your community behind you. Old Bridge Township Public Schools will always support the Scouts with projects so that they can achieve that recognition right here in our community. At this time, I would like to ask the board to join me in recognizing John Mayer. John is a member of the Eagle Scout Troop 129, and he has also done something that benefits our community and our school district. So I could have John come up with his colleagues from Troop 129 to leadership. And if I can have Miss Diane Michael come join me at the dais, because our organization is part of the group that received the benefit of John's hard work. Thank you. Move the board to recognize John Mayer, class of 2024, for his completing of the Eagle Scout project for Troop 129. John is being recognized for his outstanding dedication and effort in installing SEPTA communication boards at Lombardi Field. The installation and beautification process has allowed the board to be access to individuals from all of our buildings. So if you haven't been there yet, when you arrive at Lombardi Field, and similar to other schools around our district, there are communication boards for students who have difficulty communicating, or even members of our community. And this helps in conveying the wants, needs, and pleasures of anyone who's visiting our site and making it more inclusive and enjoyable for all who participate in any events at Lombardi Field. So John, I want to thank you so much for your work in getting that done.
Thank you.
So please accept the certificate on behalf of the Board of Education.
Thank you.
Mr. President, can you close recognition? Because I'm going to stay here for the next part.
Okay, well, any other discussion from other board members?
And Dr. Tui, can you do me a favor? You can use your phone, take a picture of John with his troop, and maybe with Miss Michael. I know Mr. Mazzella couldn't make it tonight because of another obligation with his own children.
Roll call.
Ms. Jodry?
With great pride and respect, I vote yes.
Ms. Lent?
Absolutely.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Antono?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Recognition Resolution 1 passed.
With the permission of the Board Secretary, I'd like to just steal a little bit from Board Secretary and Board Business and recognizing our board members at this time. The Board of Education, being a member, is obviously a thankless task. You are a volunteer. You come forward to do your best to do what's right by our students first and our taxpayers. I want to thank our board members, some new, who are just joining us this month, and some who have been serving the board for many years, for your time and honor and dedication to serving as a board member in the state of New Jersey. Move the board to approve the following resolution in honor of New Jersey School Board Recognition Month. Whereas the New Jersey School Boards Association has declared January 2023 as the School Board Recognition Month, a time for all residents that can acknowledge the contributions made by local school board members, and whereas the Old Bridge Township Board of Education is one of 581 school boards in New Jersey, which sets policies and oversees operations for public schools and districts. Whereas the Old Bridge Township Board of Education embraces the goal of high-quality education for all New Jersey public school students, and whereas New Jersey local school boards help determine the educational goals of approximately 1.4 million children in pre-K through 12th grade, and whereas New Jersey's 5,000 local school board members who receive no remuneration for their service act as advocates for the public schools and support the work that goes into the administrators, teachers, and parents for the betterment of public education. And whereas school boards strive to provide resources necessary to meet the needs of all students, including those with special needs, and whereas boards of education provide accountability for the public as they communicate the needs of the school district to the public, and they convey to the school administrators the public's expectations of schools, and whereas New Jersey can take pride in its schools, which rank among the nation's best, in key achievement indicators such as the National Assessment of Educational Progress scores and the preparation of college through the advanced placement of offerings through the SAT, and therefore be it resolved that the Old Bridge Township Board of Education does hereby recognize the services of local school board members throughout New Jersey as communities statewide in observing the January 2023 School Board Recognition Month, and be it further resolved that Old Bridge Township Board of Education urges all New Jersey citizens to work with their local school boards of education and public school staffs towards the advancement of their children's education. I'm going to ask Joe, as a student who has benefited through the work of the boards of education, to join me in handing out these certificates, which read, I'll read the first one. Presented to our President, Salvatore Giordano, for your dedication to our students as a member of the Board of Education. This is a certificate of recognition. Thank you. Thank you, Joe. That's why I always make 2 copies in case one gets destroyed on the way here. Jennifer D'Antonio. Marjorie Jodry. Lisa Lent. Davinder Singh. Frank Weber.
Thank you.
This is why I selected you, because you can do the mileage. And Jay Slade. I do have certificates for Mr. Marquetta and Mr. Solikowski, and we'll make sure that they receive them. Thank you again, board members, for all that you do.
Thank you, Mr. Cedino. Yeah. Oh, no, I just wanted to say something real quickly. There is another item under board secretary and board business, so we're gonna wait until that to vote for this. Thank you. And your superintendent's report.
Twice annually, state law recognizes that school boards of education and the superintendent must provide the public with a report of the HIB violence, vandalism, and controlled dangerous substance usage within the district. This report is reflective of the 21-22 school year. The data is submitted throughout the course at the end of the year and summer. It's put together, and then traditionally we give out the previous year's information in January, and the first half of this school year, the 22-23 school year, will be presented at the June meeting. During the 2021-22 school years, the following incidents occurred throughout the school district. There were 42 incidences of violence, 5 incidents of vandalism, 2 weapons offenses, and 4 CDS, or controlled dangerous substance abuse events. The number of HIB confirmed incidents were 50. The 10-day investigations were completed in all 50 situations, and the Board of Education rendered a decision in all 50 situations. The number of alleged HIB incidences was 56. These were ones that were not confirmed or founded. All of those investigations took place within all 56 of those took place within 10 days, the investigation, and the board rendered a decision in all 56 of those. So to summarize for the board, you do have a summary of this in your packet. For the 21-22 school year, there was 42 incidents of violence, 5 vandalism, 2 weapons offenses, and 4 substance abuse. If you go back to prior to COVID-19-20, we had 74, so this does mark a reduction in overall total situations and events. As far as HIB, for harassment, intimidation, and bullying, in 21-22, there were 50 confirmed, 50 alleged, for a total of 106 reported cases. Prior to that, 2019-20, there were 50. So it was obviously an increase in reports of HIB and a increase in those that were confirmed. Many of which we're finding, and it may be a result of technology and the use of technology outside the school place, are ones that were reported in the cyber realm that the school is working with and educating our students on. Lastly, I do want to take this opportunity to thank everyone that was beneficial in providing us the means to getting our students back to Carl Sandburg Middle School. That, of course, includes the staff there at the school, the administration, the guidance counselors, our transportation department. We did a wonderful job of notifying our transportation providers and our own drivers to make a quick change into getting students to our learning center for those who did not choose the remote option. I also want to thank Mr. Mara's department and the maintenance department under the head of Ernie Tricomi. The fix to get the temporary boilers in place happened very, very soundly and quickly, and the maintenance staff was there all throughout the weekend, making sure that everything was set up for our students upon their return today. Again, everyone involved in helping out was tremendous, and I also want to extend that gratitude to our code enforcement fire department, who also were on site to make sure that we're operating it and safely approved to operate it within the temporary boilers. So again, I'm sure they had a lot of things to do this weekend too, but prior to the weekend they made sure they were here to do their inspection, and that was much appreciated. So thank you to everyone, and thank you for most of all our students and our parents for their patience throughout that process. We did have a DJ on site for them today through all their lunch periods to make it more, I guess, exciting and celebrational to come back to the school. So hopefully that was enjoyed by all. Thank you very much. Mr. Giordano, I do have an item for progress towards goals. So at this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Tom Ferry to join us at the dais. He's going to do a presentation on how we use data such as SOAR the scores to be reflective upon student growth and staff growth. The requirements of the State of New Jersey Department of Education require that staff performance is also indicative of data driven by testing and the data that we receive from that. So Dr. Ferry uses a platform called SOAR the Scores, which he developed to use that and to benefit the district in, again, targeting our resources towards our students and our staff and to do accurate measurements of their success. Dr. Ferry.
All right, good evening, and thank you, Mr. Cedino, for that introduction. I greatly appreciate it. It's really a pleasure to be here tonight, and I have to preface this by saying I do get excited to talk about data. So it may not be exciting to you, but I hope you at least find it interesting and informative to hear how Old Bridge uses data very well to help enhance student performance and staff outcomes. So after a brief introduction, I'm just going to go through some of the different reports, the current roster reports, the SOAR Scores content standards current roster reports, the detailed SGP reports, teacher strength reports, what we do with some benchmark analysis, and then the end, some conclusions on the student level, teacher level, and school and district level. So for many years, Old Bridge, with the help of SOAR Scores, has been using data exceptionally well to enhance student and staff outcomes. What I'm seeing is that with every year that passes, Old Bridge staff are getting stronger and stronger in analyzing data, taking action based on it, and optimally helping students strengthen their not yet strengths as identified by the data. And rather than calling it weaknesses, we use the term not yet strengths, and that's the growth mindset terminology that I think is great. During this brief presentation, I'm going to show some samples of the useful SOAR the Scores reports that we use here in Old Bridge. Following that, I'll give a brief overview of the many specific ways that teachers, students, principals, supervisors, and/or central administrators are using data to allow us to make informed decisions and take purposeful, targeted actions. And as a reminder, all these reports that we're showing are coaching tools designed to help and empower teachers and students. These are never used deleteriously in any staff member evaluation, but instead to help each teacher and student succeed and grow. So the current roster reports, these provide teachers with detailed state test results for all of their current students section by section. So the state provides no such report for teachers, so this is very useful. So the teachers in the middle school that have different sections and different courses, they have all of the results from the state test, section by section, alphabetized for all the classes they teach throughout the day. The same is true at the elementary level for the 4th and 5th grade teachers. Teachers then conference with every student, review the strengths of each student and each student's not yet strengths, and they help students create student growth portfolios to work on each child's unique strengths. They'll talk about the child's unique strengths and work on the child's unique not yet strengths. Teachers can also, through this current roster report, target the biggest weakness of the entire class that they currently have, can meet in small groups with students who have similar areas needing attention, and so forth. This next report, the content standards current roster reports, drills down even further, and it's similar in that this is for the teacher's current roster, section by section throughout the day. They have all the state test results for all their students all in one organized, efficient place. This result calculates whether each student is above or below the state average in terms of the percent of points that they earn in specific skills or domains. And then this report also aggregates and calculates that average for the entire class. So what's nice for this, if you're an English teacher, this includes the analysis of each writing task. For the sample that you see up there right now, this particular teacher, and again, there's all pseudonyms, any report you see here, it's all anonymous with pseudonyms and no actual names, but this teacher, Beth Roberts, her current class is 8% above the state average in the research simulation writing task, but tied with the state in the literary analysis task. So that task could use some extra attention from this teacher, and that's what this report illuminates for this teacher. So each student then, again, when a teacher meets with each student and talks and celebrates the student's strengths and talks about areas for the student to focus, each student can then place additional focus and work on his or her specific area of need. So the idea of this, that you have two, with all these current reports, you have two students sitting in the same class that might have similar scores, but one might have a strength in the literary analysis task, and a student sitting next to that child may have a weakness in that area. And then conversely, that other student might have a strength in narrative writing and not in not in the literary analysis task. So the idea is two students next to each other with the same exact scores. Each student might need different extra work during the course of the year on a specific weakness. And in math, that might be fractions and numbers of operations in base 10. So in math, this Content Standards Current Roster Report provides teachers, again, with the specific drilled down math domains in which each student is above or below the state average in terms of the percent of possible points earned. So this empowers teachers to inform students of the specific strengths and also specific areas each student can target to strengthen. This also can illuminate for the math teacher certain domains that their entire current class has as overall strengths or weaknesses where they can allocate additional attention as indicated by the data. This next report is one of my favorites in terms of the help I think it provides to our teachers in Old Bridge, and that's the detailed SGP reports. So the state assigns an MSGP member, and that stands for Median Student Growth Percentile, to teachers in grades 4 to 8 based on the growth of all students that they taught. So growth scores, the SGP scores, are one of the greatest things that have happened to education because they're fair. It's not always just looking at what class had the highest outcome, because that may be based, if you have an honors class, they're probably going to have a higher outcome than a group of learners who are struggling more at the start of the year. But growth scores are fair because every student, whether it's a student honors class, an average performing student, or a student who's struggling, the state compares where each student starts and looks at where each student ends the year and then creates a growth percentile based on that. So that's one of the best things that's happened to education because it's fair, it's based on growth. So every teacher has the challenge, and our teachers do a great job of looking at every student, whether they're advanced, whether they're average performing or struggling, and trying to help every student grow as much as possible. And a growth score for a student is highest when that student grows more than other students who started the same place. So the name of the game is growth and not necessarily performance, because that's based partly on where you come in. So this MSGP score is part of a teacher's evaluation according to the state, which I think, the growth score is a good thing, and it's a small part of the teacher evaluation. But the state only gives the teacher the number. The teacher's growth MSGP might be 45, which would be a 3.0 for an evaluation, but provides no other insight or information or feedback to the teacher on how that number, where that number came from, how the students did. So these reports, these sort of scores, the detailed SGP reports, provide teachers with a plethora of information about the growth and performance of all their former students. So this report allows teachers to see the growth score of every single student they taught in the previous year. They can see the scale score, where the student started before having the teacher and where the student ended up after having the teacher. And then can also see in the skills and domains where the student was before the teacher and after the teacher. So teachers can reflect then on why certain classes grew more than others that they may have taught, which students experienced high, typical, or low growth, and possibly identify curricular areas to focus upon. The next report that is also given to teachers based on their former students is called the Teacher Strength Report. So these are very similar to the Content Standards Current Roster Reports, but are for the former students. So this report aggregates the results for every class, and then all the classes taught by the teacher, and this provides powerful insight for teachers to reflect upon into the relative strengths and weaknesses of the cohort that they formerly taught. So in this example that you see up here, this is a teacher whose pseudonym here is Pam Jones, I believe. I think I need my prescription on my glasses to be upped. Pam Jones. So Pam's former class, Ms. Jones's former class, was about earned 8% more of the possible points in the literary analysis task than the state average, earned 7%, if you look all the way to the right, the top column, earned 7% more points in the narrative writing, but was a little bit below the state, about 1% below the state in the research simulation task. So this is great feedback for this teacher to see all the scores from the students from the previous year how much they grew, and how each student did last year compared to the state, and then aggregated for that teacher. This teacher can reflect and say, okay, well, you know, I feel really psyched that my students did so well in those 2 writing tasks, but that one area, the research simulation task, I'm going to put some extra attention on that this year and reflect on what more can be done with the curricular approach and different writing strategies with them. In the absence of the state test, when we didn't have the state test during the pandemic, Sword Schools and Old Bridge used benchmark data extremely well to continue to track progress and growth of students during the entire pandemic between the fall, winter, and spring benchmarks. So what you see here, this report was a benchmark analysis Sword Schools completed, calculating growth for every student and then aggregated for the overall teacher between the fall, winter, and spring. So this shows where the student was in the fall of 2021, where the students were in the spring of 2022, and then calculated the growth, and then aggregated that for the teacher. So then a district average was created, because everything's context, right? If students go up 40 points, that may sound good, but if the average nationally or the average in the district is to go up 100 points, well, that's not quite as much growth as you'd want. So everything's context. So, you know, by calculating a district average, teachers can then see that their cohort grew more than the district average, or maybe not as much, and look at each student. This particular teacher, Mark Henry, most go up about 100 during the course of the year. In fractions, this teacher's students went up 165 points. So this teacher did a phenomenal job with the students with fractions, so I would want to study what is this teacher doing with fractions to create that kind of growth. That's phenomenal, and I want to learn from that and try to replicate it. Another report's not discussed, you know, school and district analysis reports as 2 examples. Examine the results of grade levels within schools, grade levels across schools, and district-wide results. These report pinpoint strengths and weaknesses that are worked on at the grade level, school level, and district level. So winding down, student level actions. So at the student level, the teachers are using the current roster reports, the content standards current roster reports, and then benchmarks in IXL and EasyCBM to identify every student's strengths and to pinpoint the student's not yet strengths. As mentioned, the teachers conference with every student, helping each student create a student growth portfolio, praising the students for the strengths, and talking about the specific not yet strengths to work on. The students then work on their unique, specific not yet strengths, getting additional practice in the areas most needed by each student, using one of the many exciting apps or resources or other learning tools. Students excelling in a certain area may present to the class or assist a peer. And Dr. Hoker witnessed a grade 4 team meeting at Voorhees, and during this, the teachers were very enthusiastic because they saw that doing this process with fidelity, they've seen the results firsthand through improved student outcomes on state tests, as well as motivated students. What they spoke about in the meeting, these 4th grade teachers, is that students are excited about their student growth portfolios because they're giving them a sense of ownership over their own learning. The teachers teach all the content and standards that have to be taught in whatever grade, let's say grade 4, but the students when they get to know their not yet strengths, they start to see their growth throughout the year, and that excites them, and they brag about that to their teachers, and they feel proud of it, and student outcomes are improved as a result. You know, everybody's learning what they need to learn in whatever grade, but when students know what their strengths are and know what their not yet strengths are, and then work on their not yet strengths, and see the results and see their growth, you know, week by week and month by month, they get excited about that, they want to brag about that, and at the end of the year, they end up with, you know, much more growth than they would have otherwise. The teacher level actions, as mentioned earlier, these are coaching tools used to help and provide insight, never used deleteriously in teacher evaluations. Teachers work with students in small groups or individually on their not yet strengths. They monitor and track student growth throughout the year. The current roster reports and content standard current roster reports provide teachers with actionable information for each student and pinpoint weaknesses for a particular class or section they currently teach. The detailed SGP report allows teachers, rather than simply having the SGP number from the state, to know exactly how each former student did, to see how much each student grew in the previous year, and to see where each student was in the domain and overall before and after having the teacher. That allows for powerful reflection, as mentioned. The teacher strength report lets the teachers see the relative strengths and weaknesses of their previous cohort, allowing them to place more focus on an area of relative weakness, or adjust instructional strategies, implement new resources, or seek out another teacher who may excel in that particular curricular area. Finally, on the school and district level, when we see schools or grade levels or individual teachers with incredible results, which we have all over Old Bridge, so many of our schools, grade levels, and teachers are creating tremendous growth in our students. But we study and learn from that. You know, I'm the principal of the school, but I like to see the teachers that are having tremendous success and study what they're doing and learn from it and replicate it. So we have those teachers or schools turnkey and present what they're doing in a particular subject, or maybe even a particular school or domain to other colleagues. And in this way, successful practices are replicated and grow. We provide support for schools, grade levels, or individual teachers who are struggling to create growth in a particular area. Professional development, headed by Dr. Hoker, is developed and driven by data-indicated needs. All these sort of score reports, as well the district benchmarks, headed by Dr. Tui and Dr. Calandria, provide teachers, principals, and supervisors a huge range of actionable information and track performance and growth. Teachers throughout the district, selected as data integration specialists, are now building-based leaders with these data and more. So just my final thoughts. We're a national district of character. That warm, safe, positive school climate is the foundation upon which our academic success can and does flourish. As this presentation has shown, Old Bridge is using data exceptionally well to inform decisions, inform instruction, inform professional development, and help students, teachers, schools, and the district grow and succeed optimally. In the spring 2022 NJSLA, Old Bridge's district average outperformed the state average in every single grade in both ELA and math. The only exception was grade 8 ELA, where we were just 1 point lower than the state average. In many grades, we strongly outperformed the state. A foundation of a positive school climate, the increasingly strong ability to use data well, and a focus on high caliber academics will allow the sky to be the limit for our continued growth. All this talk of data boils down to our district mindset, and that is a growth mindset. Data are not to be feared, but embraced as a tool to fuel growth. There will always be strengths for us to celebrate, study, and replicate. And as we identify any not yet strength in any given year, our students, teachers, and instructional leaders work on it with purpose and conviction to strengthen it and grow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ferry. And I love how you point out some of the benefits of the SOAR score. One of the ones that I like to use as an example when I talk to parents is the MSGP score, the median student growth percentile that comes from the state. Again, like Dr. Ferry identified, like when you get the state result for a number for a teacher, it's just a number like 45. But if I'm going to give an analogy to it, it's like having a food critic come to your restaurant and you're the owner of the restaurant and you get 3 stars out of 5, but there's no narrative as to why, just you got a 3. So what do you work on? If you want to be a 5-star, you start to like, is the freshness of my food good enough? Is the presentation good enough? Is the quality? Is it the service? Is it but you don't know because they only gave you 3 stars, and that's what the state gives us. But by using data like this and breaking it down, our teachers know that it's an area of maybe transfer of literacy, or maybe it's in mathematics, maybe it's in the higher grades algebraic expressions that they can then focus upon, and they don't take energy and waste it towards things that the students are already doing well in and excelling in. They can target that towards those not yet excelling areas, and that's what makes this kind of data enrichment and this kind of data resources so important. So thank you very much, Dr. Ferry. I'll turn it over to our board president. You can ask the board if there's any questions at this time.
Yes, any questions or discussions from other board members? Hearing none, we're going to move on to correspondence. Is there any correspondence, Mr. Mayor? Okay, any special committee reports? As you all know, the committee chairs and members have been updated. And now we're going to move on to hearing of the residents on agenda items only.
Andrew Lewis, OBEA. I just want to take a moment and thank you, Mr. Giordano, for your speediness in designing the committees for the year. In reviewing the agenda, it appears that the committees were also designed equitably. The OBEA and myself look forward to working with you this year and with the committees to accomplish a lot in the year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I will now close the hearing of the residents. No policy this month. Curriculum professional development, items 1 through 4. Can I get a motion?
Slate will move.
Lent will second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 4 pass.
Finance, items 1 through 9. Can I get a motion?
Slate will move.
One more time. Okay, Slade move it, Weber second. Discussion.
Yes, I just had a question, if we could just talk about this publicly. On item number 4, Joe and I discussed earlier, but Joe, if you could just address this publicly, why Calvary Christian School comes up on our expense report and the process.
Sure. What happens is the state notifies us of an award that they're providing to non-public educational institutions. And for some reason, they require those funds to flow through each school district to ensure that we comply with all the public school contract laws requirements for the purchases. Very often, these non-public schools, they don't follow the same rules that we do in purchasing, but since these are grant funds, the money comes to us, they tell us what we need, we buy for them what they request, we make sure that we comply with all the requirements, and then they receive the goods that they're requesting.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 9 pass.
Athletics, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion?
Jodry second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
Non-certificated personnel office, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion?
D'Antuno will move.
Lent will second.
Any discussion? Okay, roll call.
I'm sorry, who was that first?
D'Antonio.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolution 1 and 2.
Non-certificated personnel operational, items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion?
Slate second.
Discussion? Okay, roll call.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. D'Antono? Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1, 2, and 3 pass.
Non-certificated personnel, other items 1 through 6. Can I have a motion?
Lent will move it.
D'Antuno will second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. D'Antono?
Yes.
Ms. Jodry?
Yes.
Ms. Lent?
Yes.
Mr. Slade?
Yes.
Mr. Singh?
Yes.
Mr. Weber?
Yes.
Mr. Giordano?
Yes.
Resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
certificated personnel, items 1 through 16. Can I have a motion?
Mr.
Len-
Giordano, I just want to note that in number 5E, under certificate, it says provisional. That should be pending.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I still need a motion.
D'Antuno will move.
Okay, Giordano second. Any discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
No for 10, yes for the rest.
resolutions 1 through 16 pass.
Non-certificated personnel transportation, item 1. Can I have a motion?
D'Antuno will move.
Lent will second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
resolution 1 passes.
Transportation, items 1 through 3. Can I have a motion?
Jody will move.
D'Antuno will second.
Okay, I got a Weber second. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
resolutions 1 through 3 pass.
Supplies, equipment, and services, items 1 through 5. Can I have a motion?
Slater move.
D'Antuno will second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
resolutions 1 through 5 pass.
Miscellaneous, items 1 through 6. Can I have a motion?
Jody will move.
D'Antuno will second.
Thank you. Discussion? Roll call.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
resolutions 1 through 6 pass.
Board secretary and board business, items 1 and 2. Can I have a motion?
D'Antuno will move.
Lent will second.
Okay, discussion? I just want to say thank you again for all the board members for serving and the former board members who've served in the past. Thank you. Roll call.
Mr. Weber,
Yes.
Ms. D'Antuono,
Yes.
Ms. Jodry,
Yes.
Ms. Lent,
Yes.
Mr. Slade,
Yes.
Mr. Singh,
Yes.
Mr. Giordano,
Yes.
resolutions 1 and 2 pass.
I will now open it to hearing of residents on any school district issue.
Good evening. Kelly Ellis Foster, Old Bridge, community member, taxpayer. Just a few things. One, I just really would like to commend Dr. Ferry and everyone on this data. You know, I'm a data person, so I love everything about it, as well as the concept of growth mindset. And that you call opportunities, not yet strengths, I think is phenomenal. In my professional work, we work with companies in bringing out growth mindset. And, you know, we teach the power of yet. And so you're not that yet, I think is so empowering to our students. And the idea of these students helping their own growth is just amazing. So I just want to kind of thank you for that. The other one with the committees, Mrs. D'Antono, with the Community Engagement Committee, at the strategic plan, and I think you and your daughter were at the table for a while, we had a very engaged group of people who wanted to continue to be involved. And Mrs. Friedman, we gave her the list of everybody's contact information. I don't know if it's still around. But if there's a way you could reach out to those people, because I know there are a lot of people and actually some new faces who are really interested in getting involved and had some great ideas. So if that's something you could do. Thank you. And then I'm going to also give a plug as long as I'm here. I still have a few more minutes. This Sunday, January 22nd, at the Grade 9 Center in the cafeteria is the Old Bridge Glass Slipper Boutique, which is an organization that provides free dresses, prom dresses, Sweet 16 dresses, 8th grade, quinceanera, whatever it is, free of charge to anybody not only in Old Bridge, but in the surrounding communities. So anybody in need of a formal wear, please come on out between 12 and 4.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Jill Callie, resident. I just wanted, without Mr. Solikowski here, to do his usual recognition shout-outs for the retirees. I noticed that nobody else actually did that, so I thought I'd get up and congratulate Susan Trischetti and Kelly Spinner on their retirement. They're both paraprofessionals. Can't do the math that quick, but however many, let me see, it's 32, there you go. 32 years total between them of service. Congratulations on your retirement, and I know everybody in this room wishes you well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Oop.
My apologies. Page 10.
Barbara Haberman, 25 years.
Oh, wow. Barbara Haberman, congratulations. Yeah, 25 years, Sandberg LAL teacher. Congratulations and best wishes on your retirement. Sorry about that. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, I will close hearing of the residents. Moving on to old business. Any old business? Any new business?
Yes. I just want to give another last-minute plug for the Old Bridge Education Foundation. Casino night is this Thursday. We'll be selling tickets at the door. Again, it's a charity event. The money that we do raise is for grant money that just goes back to the teachers of need. So it's this Thursday, starts at 6:30 at the Palms, and we're selling tickets at the door. Thank you.
Any other new business?
Mr. Giordano, kindergarten registration begins February 1st. It's all done online, and it is the forms and information are on the website.
Thank you. And to anyone going to Instant Decision Day tomorrow, whoever gets accepted by Kane, please email me, and I'll try my best to get you out in 3 years or less. Thank you. Any other new business?
I guess it might have been old business, but I wanted to congratulate Kavya on her hard work with her literature, and commend and welcome back Sandberg to the staff, students, and all involved. I know it was a quick transition, and you guys handled it commendably, so thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I will close new business, and we'll be going into executive session for matters covered by attorney-client privilege, and we will adjourn from there. Can I have a motion to go into executive session? Okay.
Slate second.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? We are going in at 8:25.